Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast, where every week Danny and Maura Vega discuss topics that help families live a healthy and active lifestyle with their little ones, including nutrition and training, peaceful parenting, education, and mindset. To stay up to date, make sure to hit subscribe on this podcast and check out the blog at www.fatfueled.family. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at dannyvega.ms, at fatfueledmom, and at fatfueledkids, and Fat Fueled Family on YouTube. Enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody? I just wanted to take a quick break from our podcast to share something with you. So it's a new year, it's 2022, and if you've been paying attention, one of the things I've been talking about is this year, now that thankfully we have in-person events coming back, I'm going to be speaking on stage, and I'm really going to be focusing on two things, and that is community and accountability. All right, a lot of us have goals, and a lot of us are trying to hit our head against the walls and do the same thing we've done in the past, but here's something that I think a lot of people are missing. And in this new world that we're living in, things are different. A lot of people are not paying attention to the stress that they're going through. They're just trying to sweep it under the rug. And unfortunately, myself included, because I went through this, guys, we have a lot of unhealthy coping mechanism. And a lot of the time we are disconnected completely. This is why we started our Fat Fueled Physique group coaching. We've been getting really good feedback. Now, the good thing is that we have 3 different levels available. The basic membership will give you access to our True Coach app. And the cool thing about this is that every single workout with the exercises in it, you'll be able to see the videos attached to the exercises, so you'll never be lost on what to do. And these are custom workouts that you'll get monthly based on your monthly goals as they change. Now, the Plus is really great because the Plus will add custom meal plans and macros with macro changes every single week, even how to change your meal plan to adjust your macros. And now the VIP puts you in our VIP Telegram chat, and that also gives you access to our bi-weekly Zoom calls. We do different subjects every 2 weeks. We've covered everything from habit stacking to supplements. And so I just wanted to let you guys know about that. We'd love to have you. Make sure that you check it out, www.fatfueled.family/shop, and you'll see all the options there. Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast. I'm Danny Vega. I'm your host, and we are doing an all men's podcast because both of our wives are not here today, right? Myself and my guests. You guys might recognize this handsome fella right here. This is Hans Hippert from Carnivore Crisps, and we had him on last year, which we're putting that in the show notes. Last time we were on, we talked about, just getting started, his previous company that he had, which he still has, and just getting into this keto community. But we got a bunch of really cool stuff to talk about today. But dude, we always got to start with the question, what is the most critical problem you're currently trying to solve?
So critical problem, man, there's so many different challenges. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Danny. It's always a pleasure, man. Always great talking to you.
Same, man.
So, right now, staffing is a huge issue, finding great people. Fortunately, we're really blessed to have a badass crew. But there's constantly challenges, supply chain and stuff like that. That's not really our issue because we've partnered up with people in the U.S., locally, raise cattle. There is, all of our supplies are coming out of the U.S. So that could be a huge issue. And with one other project that we're doing, we're keeping it all in the States. And I would have to say it's staffing, man. Staffing is tough, to scale a business, to start a business. It was just me for a long time. And then we finally got, some staff, years ago, and we've grown it into who we are today. But, there's always different challenges, man. And that's our biggest one right now, I'd say.
Dude, so much you said there. First of all, I don't know how to do what you do. I know that I have to do this with my group coaching business to scale it up. And I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to give away any of the responsibility. I need to learn. It's like, how do I lose control? So I got someone who I told her that I was going to take her under my wing, and she's there, but I'm like, okay, Maybe I'll put a deadline for myself. The other thing about the staffing is I don't know what's happened to the culture, but I hear the worst things, dude. Like people are getting hired and getting fired during their training. They don't even make it through the training. I don't know what the heck is
Or they
going
don't
on,
show
man.
up. I
Or they
mean,
don't even.
it's really tough.
Yeah, man. And then like I had to definitely highlight the last thing that you said, because along with what we've been talking about with, what we talked about before we got on the air, like, definitely know your local farmer, your local rancher. They can really step up their production to make up for all this crap that's happening. Number one. Number two, we have countries around the world right now that are starting to flex on us, and they're gonna do things, that are very aggressive to cut off things, and we are so dependent.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you know Ryan Mitchler, Order of Man, really cool guy. He said something the other day that he's actively doing, and I respect the crap out of it. And now it's put it in my head. Try to buy US made as much as possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to be the guy that be like, well, we live in a global economy, and any type of savings that we get, from importing things, that gets passed on to the consumer. But I don't think that way anymore. Now that I understand the true nature of like how these things work, like, we are not playing on a level playing field, so we definitely gotta support our country now. Our country is not doing well. I get the whole idea of like, sometimes some countries, but we've given up, our, supremacy.
Yeah.
And that hurts us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That hurts our jobs, So that's a good problem.
I'm right there with you, Danny. I like when it comes down to, from going to Home Depot, if I'm fixing something, if that hammer is going to be the extra $5 or $10, man, I think about the family. I'm constantly checking labels, and I'll spend the extra money. First of all, it's a higher quality product if it's made in the US. Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference right there. Like I don't want to buy that hammer 2-3 times. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna spend that extra money up front for a quality product because I know that it's quality, and I'm not gonna have to spit it out, or I'm not gonna have to return it, or it's not gonna break on me. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot to be said about that shit. And Anya's, she's very eloquent with words when it comes to, paying for it twice. She's got some great analogy, but it's skipping my mind right now. But it's true, man. And if more of us thought that way, I don't think we'd be in the dependency state that we are in right now with the U.S. Like they could cut off those supply chains, and we're screwed. Like no Christmas. Like what is this shit?
Yeah, man.
I don't want to hear that. Like it's scary, man. It's scary world that we live in. But I try not to focus on that crap. I try to keep my eyes, forward on the prize, and constantly moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say one more thing about this, because like Maura talks about it a lot. Like we have, like, for example, like this cheap fashion, for example, like we waste so much now because people used to have way less things, whether it be clothing, whether it be like, look at the stuff that was made like in the 1900s up until the 50s, 60s, maybe even later, but that stuff is still there, in your toolbox, in your house. And like people used to have way less stuff in their home, and there was way less waste, dude. So like, it's just like, it's so true. Like we get stuff from Bangladesh, and we get stuff from like all over the place, and then we throw it away. I mean, that's just consumption, and I just can't stand that, man. No,
so I used to shop exclusively like through my high school days. At thrift stops before it was like the hip thing to do, just because
that's good.
My parents weren't well off, so I go to the thrift shops, find some cool gear, and I remember like there was a day when Kmart was made in the U.S. Like their clothes. I've got those shirts till this day. It's more like a 70s retro or whatever, but it's there was a time, man, and I wish more of us would wake up and realize that needs to happen again. Otherwise, we're going to be in big trouble.
I'm with you, man. There's companies popping up that are rising up to it. I forget the name of one of them, but they make workwear, but they also make other stuff. Like they're branching out into other things. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'm with you. Like more money costs more money, but you're supporting people at home. And like a lot of the time, like you said, it's better quality. So totally with you. Now, like I said before, when we started, there's some big news. I'm excited about it. But first, just a few questions. How have the last several months been with Carnivore Crisp? What can you update us with? Is there any new flavors? What's been going on with the main Carnivore Crisp brand?
So Carnivore Crisps has been doing great. We're constantly perfecting our process and our product, and we're going to do some limited launches of different products. We got a lot of people asking for the chicken skins back, so
Those are
I
good.
think there might be a little drop before the holidays. But yeah, just focusing on that and utilizing everything that we've got in front of us. That's one of our big goals is sustainability, regenerative, and from carnivore dog to carnivore crisps, utilizing every part of that and producing an amazing product out of it. So there will be something else, but I think skins will be back shortly, and we might have a couple other fun things for the holidays. So they'll have to come
Dude.
and check us out, and I'll keep you
Dude,
posted when it's ready.
please do, guys. Listen, my kids love the chicken skins, like with avocado, like with guac and stuff like that. They're like
Yeah.
chips. And you just reminded me of something. Like it's kind of going with the last thing we just talked about. I don't know because the quality is so good that you guys don't have a bunch of preservatives, but how long can I keep a bag without opening it? Because that's another big thing. Like we can stock up on a bunch of carnivore crisps,
Yeah.
to stay up to date. So how long can we keep them safely, just to have a little stash?
Years, like as long as they're
Ah,
kept
love
as long as they're kept dry in like a room temperature or even in the fridge. That's just no moisture.
it. Yeah.
But literally years, as long as they're held properly. We date them for from a year out, and they're shelf stable for like I think it was like a 5 year safety. But it just sounds like wrong when you put that on the bag. So
Yeah.
we want to keep it as fresh as possible. But literally, we've done studies and it's good to go. So don't even have to worry about that. Just don't leave it in like a hot and then cold place or anything like that, because then you might not be as crispy.
Well, guys, listen, get the freaking liver crisps. Like that is best bang for your buck. Like if you were forced to live on nothing but things that you can't keep refrigerated, and you just keep them in a dry, pantry,
Yep.
the freaking liver crisp. And, I said it before, you heard me say it, like those things are the best tasting any type of liver. Like if I tell people, like if you don't, because you can make my organ meat burgers, I tell people those are awesome because I put bacon in them so it hides it.
Nice.
But dude, the liver crisps are the mildest thing, and they're so thin and crispy. So guys, definitely check those out too.
We're making a
And
lot of liver lovers, Danny. Like seriously,
yeah,
people that were like disgusted. Granted, there's still a hint of the liver
yeah. But again, when you put
it's
those
liver.
with guac, when you put
Yeah.
that with stuff,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you use it as a vehicle for some sort of fat,
Yeah.
something
Oh,
delicious
yeah.
fat. It's like
Crunch them
it
up. Anya loves it in her eggs. Like all
oh
day long,
yeah.
man. There's so many fun things that people can do with them.
Yep.
And we love
I love
hearing
it.
it. So share. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. So now how have you and Anya, because this is like I've been telling people, we gotta just stop. We have to stop just living, pretending like there's nothing going on. There is things going on. Now, obviously address it and have, like, in my opinion, I have identified 5 men in my life that I'm going to check in on regularly. And I feel like if people just do that, because I did a bad job of it and I went through a depression for the first time ever. And then I realized when I started talking to people, it would be like Robert Sykes, for example, he's like, dude, why didn't you call me? Like, you should have called me. And it was a pride thing. But now I'm like, open up about it. That being said, we have to find ways to keep going and keep going forward without living in denial. So how have you and Anya kind of kept your sanity in the last 2 years?
So in the past 2 years, man, it's brought our family even closer together. But we don't watch all the news and feed into all the bullshit.
Very smart. Very
Yeah,
smart.
man, it's depressing. It's like your mind can make you ill, and people need to understand that. Like keeping that mind clean and like a clean garden, if you will, because you have all these weeds and all this toxicity from your environment coming in. It's gonna mess you up in one way or another. Like I don't know if you follow like Joe Dispenza,
Oh
but like
yeah, yeah, great. Hmm.
yeah. So I mean, seriously, man. So that's all I can say is like, keep that mind, keep that fertile soil, and only put in good stuff. And we all have the challenge every day that there's negativity. There's our mind can get the best of us. So they're not alone. Like people need to understand that, man. My family has battled with depression, and Anya's had her challenges, and the more that we know that we're not alone, like these are normal feelings, and there's just ways of dealing with it. That's important. Is is key to keeping it, keeping mentally positive and keep pushing forward. It's key, man.
Yeah, you know what kills me is that like I think people always are really they're really good at like seeing how so and so is wasting their time with that distraction, right? But then you're on the other side of it and you're wasting just as much time on your distraction. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if there were someone who wanted to keep us distracted, all roads lead to the same place, and both sides or all sides are like wasting their time. So like that's for me, like I if I'm going to listen to someone, it's not going to be someone who's going to be breaking down the news. It's going to be someone who's going to be helping me understand like how I really love listening to people who tell me like how are we being manipulated, because
Manipulated,
I
yeah.
hate being punked, like I hate
Yeah.
that, and then like there's people I got caught up. I say this all the time. I became a political atheist in 2012. It was the most amazing thing ever. I was after two campaigns with Ron Paul. I was like out there. I still wear my Ron Paul Revolution
Right.
band from literally 2012. It's literally going to be 10 years old now.
That's
But
awesome.
like I got caught up in it last year. Like, no, this time is different. No, it's not. You're still gonna like every day, you're still gonna have to wake up and do what you do. There's gonna be people that are, in my opinion, selected, and they're gonna be over there. You're gonna be over here. What are you gonna do with your life? What are you gonna do with today?
Yeah.
So I'm with you, man. All right, now let's get to the big question, dude, because this is the best part. This is what I'm telling you, man. The last month has been so amazing with what we're about to talk about, because it's like I have a steady stream of this stuff flowing. And like I told you last time, man, straight up, guys, like I'm not like when I promote something, I get people DMing me all the time like, "Hey, are you serious about that? Is it that good?" And I'm like, "Dang, that's how bad it's gotten, that people just, like they'll just promote anything and you can't really trust people." But in this case, you guys are going to find out why. You're going to see his passion when he talks about why and the how and all that. But let's talk about, tell us all about Carnivore Prime. What went into the selection for the rancher you used? Is it the same one as that you've been using for sourcing the other stuff? And then, the available packages and offerings that you got, because it goes in line with everything again that we're talking about. And I want people to really change their mindset, because people like to go to Walmart or whatever supermarket, and they're like, I'm gonna buy 10 ribeyes. And I get it. I love ribeyes, but that's not how things are done. And so I'm not gonna steal your thunder, but I kind of led you somewhere. So go ahead, talk to us all about Carnivore Prime.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Danny. So Carnivore Prime is the best cuts, the best pieces in the ocean of our beef world. So we've got some amazing ranchers that we work with, regenerative, grass-fed, and finished, no antibiotics ever. But these are hand-picked. So we're cutting all this beef for Carnivore Crisps, and we see these gems, and we've got so many different cuts that we're teaching people about as well. So like the Denver cut, the skirt steak, the flap, the vet, all these tender, juicy, amazing morsels
Dude, the shoulder,
that
what was it? The
people,
Terry's Minor or
the
the
Terrace
Terry's
Major,
Major?
yeah. So all
Whew.
these things that people don't necessarily, they won't see it in the store for one. So they're getting introduced to these amazing steaks, and just a better overall experience. So most of the time for like some of these muscles, you would have to buy, whether it be a half cow or a whole, maybe it's a 25-pound piece of meat, like the chuck roll where we find the Denver cut in there, and there's only, 2 pounds roughly out of each big steak. So you have to, purchase this other cut of meat that's maybe not the, the perfect roast or the perfect steak, if you will. But these are like the hidden gems. So I get like excited just talking about it because
I know.
I love steak, I love meat, and sharing this with everybody and teaching them some techniques too. So once we start shipping, we're going to be teaching people how to prep their steak properly and new little techniques that aren't online. That was another thing. I was really disappointed. Like my boy Gordon Ramsay back here, literally. He has, they have these steak videos, how to cook a steak properly, but they're leaving out different processes and steps, so you can't have that amazing steakhouse experience at home, and I want to change that. So they get the introduction to these amazing quality steaks that they'd never see before. So I'm super excited for the education part of it because I love cooking with my son in particular. Showing him how to make the best steak, how to the little tricks of the trade that you learn in decades of cooking and preparation and being in the beef industry. So I'm just super excited to teach everybody and show them and have them taste what you tried and what we eat on a daily. So super stoked.
Dude, honestly, like, let me tell you guys, it's one of those things where you open up the freezer and literally everything that you look at is good. It's not like one of those things like, number one, you're never going to have to stew it, any of it. It's all steaks that you can grill. I've been a fan. It's funny because my dad like always makes fun of me because I've been a fan of skirt and flap and flank like forever. But my dad is like he's like, in Cuba, we used to give that to the dogs. I was like, what? I'm like, that's because, and the thing is like, the thing with those cuts is that they give you a crust that is like unlike no other. And then I still get that medium rare. My favorite, because like I said, I'll eat everything,
Yeah.
That Terry's Major, I've never tried it in my life, and it's literally like a
it's like a tenderloin. It's
like a
amazing.
tenderloin.
Super lean, super tender. Like it's all those things, man. And so teaching everybody, so they don't get bored. That's one of the things that we hear a lot with the carnivore diet. And I'm very creative, so having people learn a few things from me and what we do at home is super important, and it's gonna liven things up, and they're gonna have a great, amazing experience.
Love it, man. Okay, so we got now. Talk about, like, you talked about the fact that you're introducing these cuts, but talk about, like, the more important thing is because people. Do people have an option to just buy one cut? Because usually it's gonna be a box, right?
So it's going to be a box, and they're going to have their set standards, whether it be some skirt, some flap, some flank, some bavette, ground beef. So really lean, triple ground beef. So it's not just the crap like you're scraping the butcher block. It's literally amazing trim from like the ribeyes, from the short ribs, all that good stuff. So there's not going to be any gristle or any tough, chewy stuff that you're going to want to spit out. And we actually do a triple grind. So our ground beef is amazing, and we also have that little special gem that they can opt for, which is the organ blend. So
that was the first one I had. Ooh,
yeah,
so good.
Heart,
so
liver,
good.
and kidney, and it's so good. Oh my goodness, it just kind of melts in your mouth. It's awesome. So but then they can add on. So if they say they get some New York strips, say they might get some ribeyes. If they want to guarantee like a tomahawk, they can add that to the box.
Oh my gosh!
So they get a standard of like 18 to 22 pounds of premium beef, and then they can add on whatever they want. If they want some center cut femur bones, they can opt for that. We've got the tallow, so everything has a use, and I highly recommend the tallow too. Like that's I cook all my steaks, unless I'm grilling, but cast iron skillet, the rock salt, the tallow, and do it like Portuguese Brazilian style,
Yeah.
So But yeah, we're going to teach them all these things and open their minds to amazing experiences.
Amazing. And let me tell you guys, I know that some people, because like it's kind of cool to like eat organs now. So, you'll see people like, they'll eat raw liver and they'll be like, it's pretty good, like, and it's like, no, it's not, like,
Raw,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I'll do it because like I'm the type, like my wife laughs at me because like if I know something's good for me, it tastes better. But I'm serious when I put that ground mix in my mouth, that first one and I'm not even a huge fan of kidney because of, I won't get into it, but I'm not a huge fan of kidney, but it's so good for you because it has, I forget the name of the enzyme, but that enzyme is a natural antihistamine. And like I've carried, dried kidney, chunks that like I've literally been places and people have had the sniffles and I've given it to them and the next day they're fine. That's from that hay fever. And people who have histamine intolerance, a lot of the time people get it, when they eat sausage or they eat cured meats or they eat
Right.
reheated food.
Yeah.
They'll get the histamines, but dude, like this is a natural antihistamine, and like dead serious. I tried it on camera. You guys shared it. It was freaking. And Mauda just happened to be there. She came in. She tried it. She was like concerned because she knows that like I don't like to share my food. But I was like, okay, try this, try this. You could try this. All right, awesome. So we got like we now. Of course, we know that like this current thing that's happening for everybody who's listening to this now, it's gonna be done because it's December 3rd is the final day. I'll be you guys will see it because I'll be sharing again on my story and on my static post today. But talk about number one, what's your vision for the future? Of course, because you guys are doing this trial run. What do you want to do in 2022 with this line?
I'd love to offer a subscription box for our people. Yeah. So
Awesome.
learning, all the challenges with it and how we can improve. We want our customer feedback, and make it amazing. So even better, I should say, because it's already amazing, but even better. Like we really care, we listen, and we want to hear that. So we want to grow that. That's like the trifecta of the business, So everything has a home, everything is utilized. We're helping support U.S. ranchers, and our team is growing, and there's nothing but good stuff coming, man. That's it. We're super excited.
I love it. Listen, everybody wins. There's a reason why. I think I saw a graph. It's ridiculous. Like the subscription economy since like 2012 has been like off the charts compared to everything else. People love it. It's just like automatically you get that box every month. Other companies have done it. And I used to actually promote a company that did that. But like 2 years ago, I found out like they were getting stuff from South America and other countries. And like, I can't be talking to people like, hey, you can't, because one of the reasons why we're, from people who don't really know, and it's funny because it's usually people who aren't even close to nature. They're in the cities and they just hear what they're told on TV and they're like, well, what you're doing with meat is bad for the environment. And they don't know that their produce, they're getting it flown in from around the world to sustain them. And I can't do that. And then at the same time, get stuff that's being flown from overseas. And if you don't know, I've said it a million times. I got to say it over and over because people, you got to tell them over and over. With country of origin laws, if it's inspected here, it's considered a product of the USA. So, when you hear Hans talking about this is what you have to do. You have to talk to your company, find out where their meat's coming from. Because I remember when I was promoting this other company, there was a guy who was cooking up some steaks for us at an event. And, he says, I tell him and he's like, oh, really? He's like, where's your meat come from? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, where does it come from? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And it's like, exactly, and it's not, I love that these guys are getting, going through the proper channels, but so that you get the stuff on the label, because that's important. But even like it also just the fact that you speak to these people, you speak to the person who's offering the product, you're gonna get that information.
Yep.
Don't worry about the label. The label's great, but if you're really being a smart buyer, you gotta talk to the person. And that's why we're doing this, because we know this is US, raised in the US, slaughtered in the US.
Bro.
Yeah. So, all right. So I wanted to switch a little bit, because, you guys have, you live it, man. And I love this entrepreneurial thing. And, I always want to get into the business development side of things. So I'm curious. I know some of our people that are business owners are curious. Number one, what would you say to anyone who either wants to offer a tangible product, or, like I said, even more advanced, a perishable product like beef? What would you say to someone like that?
Well, first of all, do your research, but I ask anybody who wants to get into, typically it's like the food industry when they come to talk to me. Do they love it? Like, because, when you're starting out, you are literally going to work, 100 hours a week for the first years. It was 3.5 years before I took a paycheck. So I was working another job, and I was, to sustain my family. So 40 hours a week there, and then working another 60 at JoJo's. So it was very, very difficult, but my mind was not, it was right after the economic crash, and lost my 401k wasn't worth crap anymore. And I wanted to have control over my life, and I didn't feel like I had it, after seeing all that, and, people being irresponsible with their money and my money, and so literally sold everything and got into it. So burn the boats, it was, no other option, man. There's no other option but to succeed. And I won't take no for an answer. I'll keep on going until that door opens. So you got to have that mentality. That's number one, and like I said, work it, work it like you're, if it's a love, it's a, hobby that you really enjoy doing. That's great. And you want to almost look from that aspect, because you're going to be doing it for free, most likely, for the start of it,
Yeah.
And unless you love it, you're not going to be into it, so they have to really have the heart behind it. And then it just try to stay positive, man. It's so difficult, but like we were saying, man, it's all up here, whether the door is going to be open or the door is going to be closed. It's all up to you on your mindset, and there's going to be a lot of no's. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, no, I don't like it, whatever it may be. And you can't let that shit bother you. It's like the news, okay, be aware, but, and if you got to change something, you can change something, but be true to yourself, and don't let the haters get you down, because there's going to be plenty of those, man. And even, from the start, my family wasn't on board, and it was really hard, when people that you love and care about are, not there for you, when you speak in your heart, and you want to do something and you're miserable. I was really depressed, man. And so I had to get out, and Anya was that person for me. She was the support, that opened my mind that I could do it, and that we could do it together. And I had a partner, that wasn't gonna, if I fell down, she'd help me get back up, and but that's it, man. It was just each other. And it's very important to find, somebody that believes in you, because, you believe in yourself. Some days you might not, you might beat yourself up too much, but it's very important to have somebody who loves you and supports you. So try to find that person, whoever it may be. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a family, maybe it's just watching people on YouTube that are very positive and give you that inspiration that you can do it and you're good enough, because we all need that. So
yeah,
that's the only advice I could give.
I love it, because it reminds me of I've had a front seat to watching, Robert Sykes and Crystal Sykes, with Keto Brick. And it was literally, staying up all night, making these things, wrapping them up in tin foil or aluminum, because we don't even have tin anymore. Tin is actually hard to find, but right now, it's one of those things that we were just talking about before. But but then like, getting those initial bad reviews and those initial, and it's like, it's so hard. You're so true. I haven't, I've gotten it with programs and things like that. And I'm like, refund, like, but now I'm just like, I go out of my way, because what's going to happen when you start really doing volume is that's only going to go up,
Yeah,
but so is the positive stuff. And like,
totally.
I think I heard this. It's like for every 12 things that we hear good, it's like one thing that we hear bad. And it's like, it's worth 12 positive things, And so, I mean, when you start to see, when you're looking at someone's reviews too, like if someone has 7 reviews and they're all good, and then there's someone that has like 1,000 reviews and then like, 200 are bad, think about it that way. That's really, really important, because you can't
Yeah,
please everybody. And
no,
then some people, for some reason, for whatever reason, when they write that review, you can almost feel them typing on the keyboard, like, and you're just like,
banging
and
the keyboard, all pissed off. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like, well,
yeah,
you're not pissed off at me, you're just pissed off, like,
right.
so you
Yeah,
really, I
people
feel
have
you.
bad days, man,
Yeah.
and you can't let that, like, psych you out, because everybody has bad days, and it's just how you handle it. As long as you're not letting it affect you and your mental state. But yeah, you're gonna have that, and just try to bounce back. Maybe learn something from it. We're not perfect, and nobody is. So if you can learn something from that instance, then it's a win. You turn that negative into a positive. So
Yeah.
there's always a lesson, man. There's always a lesson.
There's always a lesson, and a lot of it to me is just like, it's either a pop quiz or it's an actual big test. And so like, now that I see that, I'm just like, I don't want to fail, man. I want to just, if I get caught up in it, like, then I'm not going to learn, and I'm not going to. So all right, so now this one's important, because like I said, like for me, and I'm just curious, because this can kill people, this can crush people, this next question. And I know when I usually ask people, like in passing or just, in conversation, a lot of the answers are the same, because most people have had to learn this the hard way. But, what would your advice be on like when to scale up, and then when to add new products to your offering? Like that seems like a complicated thing, because like you can have
It is,
4
yeah.
flavors that are awesome and crushing it. And then all of us, and I've noticed that too, like my whole capitalist mindset has changed too, because capitalism, I love it, but then at the same time, like, it doesn't have to always be scale, 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 scale,
No,
right? So
no,
like
right.
there is a dark side, and it can crush you as a
Yes.
company.
Yeah.
So, when do you know when to scale, and then when do you know when to start like adding new offerings?
So I always said, like, when we're bursting at the seams, then it's not, time to take the next step. You don't want to grow too quickly, and we've been in business for 11 years. People don't realize that, but so didn't happen overnight. It's been growth over, when the time was right. And but to your point, yeah, you don't want to overwhelm yourself. Like, is there a reason that you're adding this product, or why you're expanding, whether it be the line or the facility or whatnot? Like, can you sustain it? Because you take that step too quickly, and that could be it. There's so many things going against you, that you got to be really smart and look at your numbers, and make sure that makes sense. So for all of our products, granted, we've got quite a few now, like, they all make sense as far as being in our ecosystem. So utilizing every part, the sustainability, it's like everything gets utilized and has a home. There's zero waste. So we're super proud of that. And there's, that's one of the big things in the meat industry, especially in any industry. There's, the waste, that's associated with it. But if you can control that potential waste and make something that's amazing, our dog treat line, or utilizing the tallow like we did, otherwise that would be end up in the trash, in a
Yeah.
landfill, or or not have a home. Like, so being creative, and thinking outside the box, and just having that mindset. When the time's right, you're gonna know it, you know. everybody wants to grow quick, and they watch these stories on Instagram
Yeah.
or YouTube that like, oh, 0 to $1 million or $10 million in 2 months, 3 months, whatever. No, that's not real. I mean, hey, there's
One-offs.
exceptions to every rule, but
Yeah.
the majority, no. You didn't see all the, like, the Gary V, people think that he just has millions of followers over a year or whatever since they first saw him. That's not the case. That's 10 years strong plus or whatever, grinding every day, like putting in the heart, the soul, the weekends, the nights, the missing family events, the whatever it may be. Like that shit doesn't happen overnight. And it's dedication and love. If you, like I said, going back to it, man, if you don't love it, don't do it. Find something that you're really passionate about so you can, share that passion with the world and be proud of it, not second guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it, man. I honestly, I said it today because like I went through my first ever depression, and then like, it's funny because like for October, November, literally very recently, I turned the corner, and like anybody who knows me maybe would probably say, man, it was just like from one day to another, boom. But I can look back at all the work that I did to lead up to that one thing that was like, aha. And it reminds me of a quote that I heard that was so awesome. It was literally like, this guy's like, I'm a 23-year overnight success. Because like, nobody knew those 23 years, like 22 years, that all that work that went in, especially with Instagram, like we didn't always have Instagram. And, even if you do, you're not putting every single, like when you lose a shipment of product and now you're out stuff and like, you're like,
see the positive.
how am I going to make payroll? Yeah. All that stuff. So cool, man.
I'm going to start sharing more because people need to know that they're not alone. And there's, it's tough. Business is tough. Life is tough. But it's like the harder that I work, the luckier I get. And I heard that quote, in the past, and it was it's the truth, man. Because that you got to put in the work. Bottom line, you got to put in the work.
And I think it'd be very helpful because I love to hear you talk about what you do. Like, and for me, I think of Robert, and even like not so much with what you do, I guess, in the sense that, because everybody could buy exactly what you buy, but like even if you patent something or you put some IP on it, like literally all someone has to do is change one little thing. So you're never truly
like 10% or something like that, and they can copy your stuff.
You're never truly protected. So like I think it's a beautiful thing when people are like, man, I'm buying from Hans, like I watch his stuff, like I know his story, I know who I'm supporting.
We got our hands on it. We make it. Like we're doing the work.
I love
it. It came from here, and we're doing it. It's not like and a lot of people want to do that, farm it out and have somebody else white label or make your product, and that's fine. Like if you're not a jerky maker and you're great at your flavors or whatever, but there's something to be said, the care. Like I care about every customer and I care about every package like it's going to my family. So and I don't ever want to lose that, because that was, the start. It's just like so overwhelming, USDA and like, all these rules and regulations and all that stuff. And like, if you want to do it, it's a lot of work, and, they're there. And it's just like a lot of pressure and stress, but I love it. I learned to love it. I've had, challenges with it, but, I'm doing it every day. So now I'm the expert, and know my field and love it, So I've been making jerky, like I said, for like 27 years, making it from little dehydrators on our counter, from when I was a teenager. And then, when I met Anya, we were, literally 1-bedroom apartment and had like 6 dehydrators stacked up. And I was every 2 hours setting my alarm to go and do rotations and try to, consistency. It's all about consistency and quality. So I lived it, I'm still living it, and I love it. So I think that kind of shines with those brands that are actually doing it and living and loving it. You can tell the difference.
Dude, I love this conversation, man. Tell us obviously where people can find you. It's really easy. And but just remind where we'll put it all in the show notes. Where can people find you and everything that you offer online?
So everything is at carnivorecrisps.com. You can, Carnivore Prime was offered through there, our carnivore dog line, and all of our crisps and the crumbs as well when we're in stock. So everything, is there, ready. We appreciate everybody and every sale, man. So it's, I appreciate your time and giving us the platform to share it with everybody.
It's my pleasure, dude. Thanks for coming on again.
You got it, bro.